the so-called experts are all regurgitating the exact same information. Art is for the elites. They're out of touch. It's not even real. My name is Ellie Milan, and I've been a professional artist for 30 years, and I'm the founder of Milan Art Institute.
I'm Tanner Polsley. I'm the social media manager at Milan Art, and I dabble in art here and there too.
Yeah, Tanner's also an artist. We both went to SCAD.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk today about art predictions for 2025. I have my own ideas and my own intuition and thoughts on it. I'm sure you do as well. And then I'm also going to kind of get a pulse from other voices out there. Some are elitist experts, some are other kinds of experts in their field. So it's kind of good to hear from everybody and see what everybody's saying about art trends and art predictions for 2025. So Tanner, what's the word on the street? As a social media manager, you're up on trends and you're trying to it's not like this is the first time you've researched stuff like this. So what did you find as you went poking around, hearing what others had to say?
In 2024, there was a lot of I think on Maddox Gallery, I read that 82% of contemporary art sales were $5,000 or less. So a lot of more
lesser expensive.
The $1 million or whatever art that you start to be is this money laundering? A lot of more smaller artists getting support, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah.
I saw that pop art was really popular in 2024, which makes sense. I think an Andy Warhol sold for an obscene amount of money recently. And other than that, honestly, I saw a lot of the same of things that have been trending, galleries are doing a little bit less and less sales and money and doing more cost-cutting measures and stuff.
Right.
Which that was interesting.
And I think a lot of galleries are getting left behind because they have really made the bulk of their sales on relationship with collectors, more grassroots, and they've completely neglected. Most of the galleries I know have no social media presence. They don't know how to market digitally. They don't know how to draw or generate leads. They rely on foot traffic.
I saw one article say that that's kind of becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But one thing I did see that they predicted for 2025 was that instead of relying on passerbyers and foot traffic for galleries, it's gonna start shifting more towards a VIP experience or a curated professional experience.
Yeah, I saw that too. And from personal experience, I can vouch for that. Yeah. We opened a gallery here in Sarasota, Florida, a little over a year ago. And we had a gallery in Georgia before that. So we've had, some experience owning a gallery. And I know that when we create experiences for people, then we can get a lot of people, to come in and experience the art and buy art. And if we just solely relied on foot traffic for our art sales, I feel like it would be half as much. I think at least half of our art sales, probably more than that, honestly, it's more than half, are from, relationships or experiences we've created, us driving traffic, us creating leads. We do use digital marketing to do that. We have some sort of cause or excuse or reason to get people to come in. I would say that without that, we wouldn't nearly be as successful as we are, for sure. It's hard for me to think singularly, what did I sense or feel or experience in 2024? It's more like the last few years. It's almost like pre-COVID, post-COVID is sort of, what I'm feeling. But I think COVID absolutely revolutionized art selling and the art world. And we're now seeing the repercussions of it. What happened is that people did not buy art at auctions. They didn't go to auctions. They were at home. They were at home looking at their walls, wanting a fresh energy in there, craving that human connection. So online art sales blew up. I mean, 2020 was a fantastic year of selling art online. 2021 was a fantastic year, 2022, and it just keeps going. So I feel like that set a precedent. And people are working more at their homes now because of COVID, and companies are realizing that they can effectively and efficiently produce as much work without having to have an office building.
Yeah.
And so I think with more people working at home, more people spending time in their home, they are craving more artwork. They're buying it online. So I think online sales have, and I think they're way bigger than what they're reporting. I guarantee you none of my art sales got reported.
That's a very good point too.
Yeah.
'Cause most of the articles I read about 2024 and what people were predicting 2025 does come from like the uppers, the big wigs and whatnot. So
I still think Instagram is the biggest art dealer out there.
Yeah.
I've sold a lot of artwork, just people personally contacting me. Of course, it's a lot of scammers too, but personally
there's genuine, yeah.
Yeah, but you have to weed out, who's trying to scam you and who's legit.
Yeah.
And they will email you or they will message you on Instagram or Facebook, and you work it out through messaging.
Yeah,
and
I'm seeing a lot of artists even say like DM if interested.
Right.
People aren't really directing them towards a website or anything. It's basically just It's like cutting out that middleman, kind of, basically.
Right. And so a lot of those sales go unreported.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that you saw? What about for 2025? What did you see?
I've been seeing a lot of people talking about what they think the future of like AI and technology and stuff, how that'll intersect with art. The general census I've been kind of getting is that, AI is here to stay. It's not gonna go away. Like it's embedded in our culture and society now.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see some interesting ways that interplays with art, and I think we're gonna see a stronger movement for it and a stronger counter movement against it too. That's kind of a Tanner prediction, but I think that's what's
We are
happen.
saving the Tanner predictions for later.
I know, but
right now you're reporting. Okay, here's what I'm realizing, Tanner.
Yeah.
Because I had this hunch before and now I'm convinced. The so-called experts, the curators, the art world insiders, as they are deemed, are all regurgitating the exact same information, because what I read is exactly and precisely everything you've said. So I think that there's like maybe one mastermind article coming from somewhere, and everybody's like reading that. Nobody has either an original thought. I'm not saying this is a coordinated effort. It could be. If you're a conspiracy theorist, we can say it's all coordinated. I don't know if that's true or not true, but I do know that like the same things are being said. And I have a few things here written down, and I bet this is exactly what you heard too. So Maria Brito is a curator and art advisor. I think she's really interesting. I loved her book, which was called Creativity Rules. I think it's an excellent book because it really talks about, we're coming into a time period where the creative people in creative fields that are dictating the way culture is going. And I think that's kind of always been true, but now more than ever. Anyway, her book is really interesting and I really liked it. But her predictions are derivative of everything else I read out there. I don't think she was the originator. I think she did some reading and some researching and didn't come up with anything original, because this is what everybody is saying. They are saying, I'm not saying I agree with this, by the way, I'm just saying what they're saying. So what they're saying is that there is a slowdown of emerging artists, people buying emerging artists, which contradicts what you just said about, the 5,000 from Maddox Gallery in London. But what she means by emerging artists is artwork that sells for more than 6 figures from an emerging artist. I don't know how they get there, honestly, because I know 100,000 original.
You have to already be emerged to do that.
Yeah, how do you start your career and 2 years later you're selling your artwork for 100,000? That only happens when you get in with the right people in that blue chip market where they're creating a fuss about you to get your prices up, to make a ton of money and convince these people with money buy this person. I think that whole thing is a scam and a sham. That's my opinion. Rarely do these young emerging artists stick with it interdependently and have this long haul kind of, a career with legs on it. It's sort of like they get caught up in this, frenzy, and then their artwork sells for a lot. Anyway, so what she's basically saying is that this trend, the collectors are wise to it now, and they're like, hey, wait a minute. And she even said that she has collectors that have bought these emerging artists' art for these crazy amounts of money and are now saying, I got all this art, they're giving it away at auction, for a third of the price that I paid. What am I supposed to do with it? And so anyway, people are leaning away from that, and as they should, because I think the whole thing was a scam to begin with. AI, what you said about AI curating and
oh yeah, AI curating. I saw that too.
Yeah. Which is almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If AI is telling you what's trending and then they're curating according to what's trending, it's like AI is predicting our culture, like AI is creating
it's very circular.
We'll get to how I feel about all those things, but that's a trend that's out there. And supposedly digital art, and they were even talking about NFTs, and I'm like, are you serious? You're gonna try to rekindle the NFT thing? That has
I saw one
died
person
out.
Say that cryptocurrency and that might be on the rise, but not in the form of NFTs.
The NFT thing, I feel fell out about 2 years ago. And now all that's left are the scammers. I feel like the people saying that are out of touch. And they're again, that blue chip market that's trying to pull from the ashes of defeat this NFT thing and rekindle it so that all the people yelling at them, why did you make me buy that NFT, can be, it's like they're desperate to get that going again. But I think real art collectors that actually collect art that they love and they're not just trying to get rich quick with it are wise and understand that that's a big scam. So anywho, that was another thing. And then resurgence of craft and traditional mediums.
Oh, I saw that too.
Yeah.
I saw textiles.
Textiles, yeah. I'm telling you, they're just getting this stuff.
I know, I read about textiles in 4 different articles. Okay, they really are fun.
I don't know. And then I saw some other trends that other people were talking about, a lot of nature inspired art.
I saw that a lot too. Yeah.
I think that's true. I think so too. I can get behind that one. The main thing that I kind of, I've known this and then it was just kind of reiterated, is that there's almost 2 art markets. There's the establishment art market that I would call that blue chip, it's all about a lot of money laundering and making money kind of market.
Yeah.
That's not so much about that deep connection that you have with art and really loving what you own and wanting to live with it and falling in love with some artist and following their career. And it's just a totally different thing. And then there's the lower priced, under, let's say 30,000, that's the collectible market where...
Yeah, the collectible market. I think that's a good word for it.
Yeah, where it's just somebody loves to collect art, they fall in love with a piece, they want to live with it, they want to own it forever and either pass it down to their children or, perhaps sell it at a later date, but they just truly love the art. A lot of the people out there in the blog land and giving their opinions and that are on, on Artsy and on, the different publications, they're from that sort of elitist establishment art world. The things they write, I just want to read some of the things they write. This is Blanca de la Torre. So she's some top curator. We're sure that the state of the planet is still very much on the agenda, also in contemporary art in 2025. But in general, queer ecologies, Afrofuturisms, speculative realism, lots of attention to textile work and other crafts and artisan traditional techniques, new materialities. She can't say new materials. She has to say new materialities. And discourses that tackle the socio-ecological complexities of ecology and the climate crisis that we face.
I read that too. I read that 4 times.
You can read it backwards and it makes more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of get a flavor and a vibe of it, but it just sounds like I'm going to throw a bunch of words together that end in ology. It's going to make me sound like I know what I'm talking about and I can keep my job. I don't know. It's ugh. Here's a funny one. I think that there will be an equal emphasis this year on how to deal with the planetary and societal destruction that we find ourselves in, as well as the many futurities that we might attach to them. Oz continued. Proposals on how to be more in flux with our identities is something I believe and hope that we will see more of. I'm curious to see thinkers articulate more of their navigations of the conflicts and ambiguities in a fluid time like this and moving beyond the deterministic binaries that we get caught up with.
Yeah.
I just call it like elitist banter.
You know what? I feel like they've been saying the same thing every year too.
But I think it does a huge disservice to the art world, to artists and culture, because what it does is it sort of separates them into this esoteric, elitist cult that pontificates and talks and has all this like fancy words and ways to say things that nobody can relate to. Even the people buying the art, they're just like, yeah, that sounds good. Here's, $500,000. It's not actual down to earth, real language that anybody can relate to or connect with. And I think it's like far fetched. It's not even real. It's just this illusion of art is for the elites. And I think that that's something that is so old school.
Yeah.
It's not true. It's like they're very behind the times. They're out of touch, completely out of touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Art has
because-
hit mainstream.
Yeah.
And
everyone's an art collector nowadays.
everybody's an art collector. The true art collector hears garbage like that and is just like, I don't identify with that. I don't understand that. I'm not a part of that world.
I don't think I've ever bought a painting and be like, but what does this mean for the queer ecology of Afrofuturism?
Right.
I think different, but that's not the front of my thoughts,
Yeah, and you've bought art. You're an art collector.
Yeah, that's not the reasons I buy, and that's not the reasons I think you should buy art.
This is kind of an interesting one. Alex Glauber, which is funny because I think in German, Glauber means thinker. Anyway, Alex Glauber, the outlook for 2025 is largely optimistic, but tinged with increasing ambivalence. Republican administrations typically have a binary effect on the art world. While the policies have historically done little to foster or support cultural development, the greatest beneficiary of their fiscal policies tend to be wealthy individuals who are the lifeblood of the market, with greater clarity and confidence on where the market stands at the end of 2024, there should be increased demand and participation among collectors in 2025. The ambivalence stems from the slew of policies, variables such as interest rates, tariffs, and taxes that are all the more unpredictable given to the mercurial. If you get rid of all the fluff, it sounds like he's saying something definite and then saying, but he's not sure because there's a lot of ambivalence.
Yeah.
But recognizing that there's sort of a changing of the guard, and that's kind of been worldwide a bit. And with it, there's going to be new policies. I mean, I think that's the general, what they're saying.
Yeah.
And those policies may affect how very wealthy people do things.
Yeah. The rich are going to have more money to spend.
This, I thought, was very good advice, very down to earth. Two things resonated with me: the Maddox Gallery in London, what he had to say, and then also Buy Wall Art. So they had an article. And so this is a little more, I would say, for the general population type art, not that sort of elitist blue chip stuff.
Yeah.
So personalization and emotional connection. Art in 2025 will emphasize personalization with consumers seeking pieces that reflect their experiences, making art a form of self-expression. And I do think that people, especially now with so much social media and almost having human connection, is really craving a deeper sense of human connection. And I think art is a great vehicle. And I've seen this just in my own personal experiences of selling art, that the collector wants to know the story.
Yeah. And that is something that I feel like I've seen an increase in social media, because the most of my art news and stuff I get from social media, because I run the social media account. I am seeing more and more of artists kind of building that with the content they put out there.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like there was a time period kind of like from 2021 till about 2024 where it felt more like we're trying to just catch you with some flair or something. I feel like you used to see a lot more of those videos where it's like, let's pop these balloons of paint and watch them explode, or
right.
swing across the ceiling and throw a bunch of paint.
Yeah, that's true.
But I feel like I'm seeing a lot less of that. In fact, I've seen more people make fun of that kind of stuff than doing it. I think, like you said, that human connection and that authenticity, I think, is really coming more. especially since like AI is starting to
Fake
rise.
news and AI have
Yeah.
really gotten everybody to want to reevaluate what they're consuming
Yeah.
and is it real? You see a really cool painting that you really love. The first question is, but is it AI?
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's why all of these people are kind of predicting textiles and this homemade craft stuff is
Yeah.
going to make a resurgence, because that's, I mean, I don't think AI can, well, it can probably do anything, but
Yeah, it's
but
not.
that's like a tangible, real thing.
Right.
And
Nature-inspired and sustainable art, themes inspired by nature and eco-friendly practices are becoming popular, with consumers favoring art that promotes wellness and aligns with environmental values. I think that that's, you know, really true. Connecting with nature, I think, is a big thing right now.
I think people want trust. That's the biggest thing that
Yeah.
I think.
I think that's why storytelling is such a huge part of selling art, because it's the story that builds that trust and authenticity and connection. So yeah, okay. Digital art and technology. I don't agree with this one. Digital art, NFTs, and AI generated works are expected to continue growing in popularity. I think this is, again, propaganda where they're trying to get that rekindled. I'm not seeing it. And I'm friends with people that were heavily involved in that NFT market and they made a lot of money. They're saying it's pretty much dead.
Yeah, for NFTs, yeah. As far as like the AI stuff though, I think it's going to grow in popularity, at least in how much we see it and how many people are like doing it. I think we're gonna see a lot more AI artists out there.
I don't.
Really?
I mean, you might see it, but it's not going to get traction. It's not going to get anywhere because of that you see this convergence of lack of trust with that.
That's true.
Fads are so fast and fleeting now. You know, AI.
That's true.
It's
could
like
be a fad. We don't
yeah,
know.
it's
Still.
like, I mean, I'm not saying AI is going anywhere. AI is here to stay and will continue to evolve and progress. I imagine a collector asking ChatGPT about an artist. What's your opinion on this? And do they have longevity? Just like I asked ChatGPT for, you know, lawyer advice instead of paying a lawyer. So, you know, I can see that happening. I can imagine AI being a part of artists' processes in generating like source material, working through ideas and that kind of thing. But I think hand-hewn, hand-touched, oil paint, traditional materials, those things are going to be more valued than ever.
I don't think there's that big a market for AI art.
No, because it can be produced and reproduced, and they tried with the NFTs to make it, you know, unique, exactly. and that didn't work. So anyway, and then the last one is shifts in buyer demographics. So this is, I think, really great, really big. Millennials and Gen Z are significant art buyers. What are you? Are you a millennial or are you a Gen Z?
I was born in '95, so
You're a millennial.
A millennial, like a late millennial.
A late millennial. Okay. And you've bought lots of art. So are significant art buyers valuing convenience, sustainability, and immersive experiences shaping the market's evolution and future trends? I don't know about that, but I do think that millennials and Gen Z are buying art, and it's sort of like, I don't know. I think it's gravitating to like actual paint and textures, you know, something that a human touched and there's a story behind it.
I do feel like that is a growing sentiment I see amongst younger folks. Even like digital art too is more, I feel like, being sought after. Because like artists that draw on Procreate or, you know, whatever. I'm not a digital artist. I don't know how they do it. But, you know, not AI, but digital.
Right.
Even that stuff, I think, is... I feel like I've seen an influx of those artists finding success too, because it does, like you said, have that level of human touch, which builds that trust. If I had to like say a key word for 2025, I would say trust.
Yeah,
I think that's...
I agree. Build trust with your audience.
Yeah,
and focus on authenticity and vulnerability. You know, just being really open. And I think in terms of like Gen Z, they're sort of the first generation that grew up with iPads and social media. And
like from the womb.
From the womb, and so it's sort of that forbidden fruit, like. If like my generation, you know, all this digital stuff is like new and fangled, and it's like, wow, like it's hard for somebody at my age to like manage and maneuver all this stuff quickly. I mean, I watch my kids do it and they're like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, what'd you just do? Like, you just bounced between 10 different screens, and I don't even know how you do that. Because they've always had it. There's nothing novel about it. There's nothing, it's not a shiny object to them.
Yeah.
It's totally mundane. And what is a shiny object to them, what is rare and that forbidden fruit, not accessible always, is that handmade, hand-hewn concept and art that was made with people's hands.
Yeah. I've noticed, like, in my personal life, as I've gotten better at drawing and painting, like, people around me that, like, didn't really care about art or think about it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
You did that?
Like, that's cool.
That came from you?
Yeah. It's like, you did that with your hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And it then, like, that kind of gets them interested in art. And I think we're going to see, as more people are more vulnerable and authentic and, like, I think kind of showing that process of creating art, like seeing what goes into it is what will kind of turn the tides towards more artists being supported. And
yeah, I totally see that. Well, okay, so let's talk about like our predictions. We've already talked about trust, but
I don't know if there's going to be one way. I think we're going to see more diverse market. I think we're going to see more niches filled, because I think we're just going to see more and more artists, which means more and more people creating different types of stuff.
So eclectic or something?
Eclectic, yeah. I think it's going to be more eclectic. Like, I was thinking about this, and I was just like, I don't know. Like, I've been thinking, like, what was the last, like, fashion trend? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Everything is so quick. I think people are going to be more concerned with what they themselves like, rather than, like, what.
Yeah, and like a desire for more originality.
Yeah, but I don't know. What do you think? You've been in the game longer than me.
We have had this sort of economic kind of decline, infrastructure on the decline. Like, a lot of things are on the decline. The trust has been broken. Nobody trusts the news anymore. Nobody trusts leadership. There's just all that's going on. And all the homes have become gray and white in all of the textiles. And it's like a lack of print. Everything's become plain and vanilla. The couches, you go to a furniture store and it's just like gray and beige, art sales have been great and a lot of people are buying art, but I think that color-wise, people are tending to play it safe a bit more. And I think like abstracts, like neutral toned abstracts, those types of things have been selling pretty easily. But I see this general vibe around the world of populism, and that there's like a populist revolt. And even in the movies now you see, like I just watched Gladiator, and it's echoing this whole sentiment of a populist revolt, to overthrow Rome. So I think that plays into the individualism, this like exceptionality of one person kind of idea, without there being the idol worship of Hollywood and celebrity. I think that we're going to see with that more color, a little more risk taking, people kind of coming out of that shell of being told what to do and how to do it. And everybody has to, paint their walls gray or white. Now it's like, no, I want an orange wall. And I don't care if you're not supposed to do that in the kitchen because it'll make you fat. I want to do it, and people are going to like think for themselves more. I see a lot of like landscape getting reinvented. I think nature, landscape, water, maybe even like fantasy, some more like surrealism and kind of anything that's a little bit risky.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point that I agree with. Yeah.
And like almost like this yearning for magical and supernatural.
Less mundane.
Yeah. I would say if you are an artist, just go for it and really like paint what your heart wants to paint and be driven by that inner need and that desire to really create something that's uniquely you. Follow those impulses and try not to be sort of controlled or dictated by, that sort of vanilla gray, same vibe that's out there. And I would say don't be afraid of AI. I think texture too, that's another thing I wanted to say is like, and you already saw it last year. So I think that's going to continue. is very tactile and textured. And again, it violates that. Is this a print? Is this AI? Is this a digital thing?
Yeah, that's like tangible.
It's
You can
tangible.
feel it.
I can touch it. It's in relief. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would say if you're an art collector, buy what you love. Don't buy what somebody tells you or an art advisor tells you. Buy something that you know when you have an encounter with it. And I think also if you're an artist, really capitalize on your story and be willing to share your story. And just remember, art is leaving that elitist establishment. I think that's been true in politics, and I think it's going to continue to be true with art. I think there's a major distrust, even with like huge collectors that buy art for hundreds of thousands. They're not trusting the art advisors anymore because they've advised them wrong and they're motivated by the wrong things.
So shift your motivations and build trust.
Yeah.
In 2025.
Tanner, we didn't argue at all. What's up?
You want to right now?
Yeah. What do you want to argue?
AI is good.
I like AI actually. Let us know what you're seeing and what you feel is the future. And if you're an art buyer, an art collector, what kind of art do you love to collect? And is the story important? And how do you feel about that? So we would love to hear your input. Share it in the comments. If you want to see more content like this, then like and subscribe and follow this channel. Thanks for being here, Tanner, and doing this. And maybe next time we'll argue more and like fight about something.
Yeah, we'll duke it out. We'll duke
Okay.
it out.